What if I told you that the most effective weapon of power is not violence, not ideology, and not even money, but a story you're trained to repeat without noticing? Empires have risen and fallen, dynasties have collapsed, revolutions have burned through centuries. Yet one ancient trick of power has survived them all, unchanged, quietly passed from ruler to ruler, from court to court, from palace to parliament. It is older than written law, older than borders, older even than the idea of the state itself. Tonight, as a historian of Asia, I will tell you what that trick is, where it comes from, and why it still works on modern societies that believe themselves immune to manipulation. Long before emperors wore crowns, power already faced a problem. People are many, rulers are few. You cannot control millions by force alone. Violence is expensive. Fear burns fast and leaves ashes. Every ancient ruler learned this lesson early, so they discovered something far more efficient: control how people understand reality. In early Asian kingdoms, rulers did not say, "Obey me because I am stronger." They said, "Obey me because this is the natural order of the world." In China, this became the mandate of heaven. In India, it became Dharma. In Southeast Asia, it took the form of cosmic kingship. Different words, same function. Power presented itself not as choice, but as destiny. The oldest power trick is this: convince people that the existing order is inevitable, not good, not fair, just inevitable. When people believe something cannot be changed, they stop imagining alternatives. When imagination dies, resistance dies quietly with it. Ancient rulers understood this deeply. That is why they invested more in rituals, myths, and symbols than in armies. A king seated beneath heaven, a ruler aligned with cosmic balance, a dynasty framed as the guardian against chaos. The message was subtle but constant: without us, the world collapses. Power does not survive because people love rulers. It survives because people fear disorder. In Chinese history, every dynasty justified itself by pointing to the chaos before it: warlords, famine, bloodshed, moral decay. In Southeast Asia, rulers portrayed themselves as the axis between heaven and earth. Remove the center, and the universe falls apart. This fear of chaos is not irrational. Chaos is real. History is full of it. But power learns to weaponize that fear, turning it into loyalty. In the previous video, we discussed why peace can be dangerous for rulers. Here is the connection. When life becomes stable, people start asking questions. When suffering decreases, obedience weakens. So rulers reframe peace itself as fragile, something that only their authority can preserve. They do not say, "We rule you." They say, "We protect peace from collapsing." Thus, power transforms from oppressor into guardian, and guardians are rarely questioned. You might think this is ancient history. Mandates of heaven and divine kings are gone, but the trick did not disappear. It modernized. Today, power no longer claims cosmic approval. It claims necessity. We have no choice. This is the only realistic option. There is no alternative. Different language, same spell. When people are told that all alternatives lead to disaster, they cling to the present, even if it quietly harms them. The most successful version of this trick makes people defend power for the ruler. They repeat slogans. They attack critics. They shame those who imagine change, not because they are evil, but because they fear instability more than injustice. Power does not need to silence everyone. It only needs to shape what feels reasonable. Once that line is drawn, society polices itself. Across Asian history, the longest-lasting systems were not the most brutal, but the most convincing. They allowed limited criticism, small reforms, symbolic change, while keeping the core untouched. Too much oppression creates rebellion. Too much freedom creates unpredictability. So power walks a narrow path, offering just enough hope to prevent imagination from becoming action. This balance is not accidental. It is refined over centuries. The trick only fails when people stop fearing chaos more than injustice. When they realize that disorder already exists, just hidden. When they see that stability serves some more than others. Historically, this moment is rare, and when it arrives, change is sudden, shocking, and often violent. Power knows this. That is why it works so hard to prevent that realization. Many believe education breaks this spell. History suggests otherwise. Highly educated societies have supported destructive systems, defended unjust wars, and normalized inequality, because education alone does not defeat fear. The oldest power trick survives not through ignorance, but through emotional control. As long as fear dominates imagination, knowledge stays harmless. The oldest power trick is not deception. It is not censorship. It is framing reality so that obedience feels safer than change. Once you see this, history reads differently, not as a battle of good and evil, but as a struggle between fear and imagination. Power always fears imagination, because imagination is the first step toward alternatives. If this series has shown you anything, it is this. Power rarely announces itself as tyranny. It arrives disguised as necessity, stability, and protection. Understanding history is not about condemning the past. It is about recognizing patterns that repeat quietly in the present. If you want to continue exploring how power really works, beyond slogans, beyond myths, follow this channel and join me in the next series, where we examine how ordinary people shape history in ways rulers never predict. History is not over. The oldest tricks are still being used. The question is, now that you see them, will they still work?